It was a cold autumn afternoon in the heart of the city. The streets buzzed with people rushing to their destinations, the sound of traffic blending with distant laughter from a nearby cafe. Amid all the noise and movement, a tired-looking woman stood quietly near a restaurant entrance, holding the small hand of her little daughter. Her clothes were worn, her hair messy, and her eyes carried a kind of sadness that words couldn't describe. The little girl tugged on her mother's sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, I'm hungry." The woman's eyes filled with tears as she looked down at her daughter. She had already skipped 2 meals trying to save what little money they had left. Inside the cafe, a well-dressed man sat alone, scrolling through his phone. He was a millionaire, successful, powerful, admired. But what he didn't realize was that this day would change his life forever. Before we begin, if you believe in the power of kindness and compassion, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Diaries. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Every story we tell here is meant to remind you that one small act of kindness can change a life. The woman hesitated for a long moment before stepping closer to the outdoor tables of the cafe. She didn't want to beg. She wasn't someone who normally asked for help. But when she looked at her daughter's pale face, her pride melted away. "Please, sir," she said softly, her voice trembling, "my daughter is hungry. Could you spare a little food?" The man looked up from his phone, slightly annoyed at first. He had been deep in thought about a new business deal. He noticed the woman's rough clothes, the child clinging to her leg, and for a moment, his heart felt uncomfortable. He sighed, "I'm sorry, I don't have any cash on me," and went back to his phone. The woman nodded, whispering, "It's okay," and turned away. Her daughter, confused, asked, "Mommy, are we going to eat soon?" The mother forced a smile and said, "Maybe later, sweetheart." But the man couldn't focus anymore. Something about that small exchange stuck with him. He watched as the woman walked away slowly, her arms wrapped protectively around her child. He thought about his own childhood, how his mother had worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. He remembered being hungry once, too. He called out, "Wait." The woman turned around, startled. The man stood up and walked toward her. "Please, sit down," he said, gesturing to his table. "Let me get you something to eat." Her eyes widened. "Oh, no, I didn't mean to bother you." "You're not bothering me," he interrupted gently. "Please. Sit." He waved over the waiter and ordered a warm meal, soup, bread, pasta, and juice for the little girl. As they waited, an awkward silence filled the air. The man finally said, "You don't have to tell me anything, but are you okay?" The woman hesitated. "We're just going through a rough time," she admitted. "I lost my job last month. I've been trying to find something, but it's hard when you have a child. I promised her I'd make things better." The man listened quietly. The food arrived, and the little girl's face lit up as she tasted the soup. She smiled, the first real smile the mother had seen in days. That simple smile hit the man like a wave. When they finished, the woman tried to thank him and leave, but he stopped her. "Wait," he said again. He pulled out his wallet and handed her a few $100 bills. "This should help a little until you find work." Her eyes filled with tears. "Sir, I can't accept this," she whispered. "Yes, you can," he said firmly. "I'm giving it to you because someone once helped me when I was down. They told me, one day, you'll have a chance to do the same for someone else. And now, I do." The woman cried softly, holding her daughter close. "Thank you," she said. "You have no idea what this means to us." He smiled. "Just promise me one thing. When you're in a better place someday, help someone else who needs it." She nodded. "I will." As the woman and her daughter walked away, the man felt something inside him shift. He realized that for all his wealth, he had been poor in one way, poor in compassion. That simple act of kindness filled a part of his soul that money never could. A few months passed. Winter came and went. The man continued with his busy life, but he couldn't forget that encounter. Sometimes, he found himself looking at strangers differently, wondering what silent battles they might be fighting. Then one morning, while walking to his office, he passed by a small bakery. A "Help Wanted" sign was on the window, and behind the counter stood a familiar face. It was her, the same woman he had helped months before. She looked happier now, healthier. Her daughter was sitting at a corner table, coloring. The woman saw him through the glass and hurried outside. "Sir," she said with a bright smile. "I was hoping I'd see you again. I got this job a few weeks ago. We're doing better now." The man smiled warmly. "I'm so glad to hear that." She nodded. "And I didn't forget your promise." She reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a small brown envelope. "It's not much," she said, "but I've been saving a little from each paycheck. I started a fund at the bakery to help families who come in and can't afford food. We call it the kindness jar. Customers can add to it, and anyone in need can take from it. Your kindness started it all." The man was speechless. He felt tears welling in his eyes as he realized how far one small act of compassion had reached. That night, he sat by his window, looking at the city lights. He thought about how different the world might be if everyone took just one moment to care, one moment to look beyond themselves. Kindness doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet, a meal shared, a hand extended, a simple word that reminds someone they're not alone. The woman's life changed that day, but so did his. And maybe, just maybe, the next time we see someone struggling, we'll remember this story, and choose kindness, too. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Diaries. Together, we can spread more stories that remind the world that compassion still exists, and that every act of kindness, no matter how small, truly matters.